Hello, friends. Welcome to Spill the History Tea. Let's talk about a huge history gossip. It can be called the most unsatisfactory script killing during World War II. The protagonist of the story is the famous Jewish girl Anne Frank. We all know that this talented girl was in the clutches of the Nazis. She hid in a secret room with her family for more than 2 years and wrote the world-moving The Diary of Anne Frank. However, just 3 days after she wrote her last diary entry, the Gestapo found them with the same accuracy as if they had opened the eyes of God. For 80 years, everyone wanted to know. So, who leaked the secrets of the address they were hiding? In 2022, a magical bureau led by a former FBI agent finally locked onto the werewolf. However, the ending was a shocking reversal that left everyone's jaws dropped. What is behind? How many unknown secrets are there? I believe that everyone here has more or less come into contact with the wonderful book, The Diary of Anne Frank, when they were in school. The reason why it has become popular all over the world and even selected as one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century by Time magazine is that not only because it records the adolescent troubles and aspirations for the future of a 13-year-old girl while hiding in a secret room, it is also because it has become irrefutable evidence of Nazi atrocities. I won't go into detail about the background of the story. In July 1942, in order to escape the Nazi persecution of the Jews, Anne and her family began to hide in a secret room for 2 years. Imagine a young girl who can only live in a sunless attic every day. Even going to the toilet has to be done on time for fear that the staff downstairs might hear any noise. Her only spiritual sustenance is a red checkered diary, Katie as a best friend, telling all the fears, contradictions, and hopes. In her last diary entry, Anne wrote, "I still believe that people are really good at heart." Reading this sentence now makes me sigh. Because just 3 days later, on August 4, 1944, Nazi police stormed the secret room at 263 Prinsengracht in Amsterdam, took away the 8 people hiding inside. In addition to Anne's father, Otto Frank, the others included Anne and her sister Margot. All died tragically in concentration camps. Anne died at the age of 15, just weeks after the camp was liberated. After the war, the only surviving father, Otto, returned to Amsterdam. The company's secretary, who had helped them before, gave him Anne's diary that was scattered on the ground. Otto compiled and published this diary, allowing the world to know this optimistic and strong girl. But at the same time, a huge mystery also arises. Who leaked the secret? Over the past few decades, dozens of suspects have come and gone. The first suspect was warehouse keeper William Van Maren. This guy is not clean and is particularly gossipy. Anne also expressed her disgust for him in her diary. The Dutch government investigated him twice after the war, but was unable to convict him due to insufficient evidence. Later, everyone felt that although this guy had a bad character, but it's not so bad that I would inform on someone and ruin my job. Later, someone pointed the finger at Nellie, Bep's younger sister, who was helping Anne's family. It is said that Nellie was an anti-Semite and had connections with the Nazis. Some even claim that the first informing call received by the Gestapo was from a young woman. Doesn't it sound like there's a ghost inside? But this is just a rumor and there's no real evidence. Another theory is that Anne's family was discovered by accident. Maybe the Nazis stumbled upon it while investigating food stamp fraud or illegal labor. This statement seems to be reasonable. After all, who would have thought that there is a world hidden behind the bookcase? Just when everyone thought this case might become an eternal mystery, a group of great masters came into the picture. In 2016, a retired FBI agent, Vince Pancock, assembled an international Avengers alliance consisting of nearly 30 people, including historians, criminologists, and data experts, vowed to use modern technology to solve this unsolved case from more than 70 years ago. They spent 6 years using various investigative methods comparable to Hollywood blockbusters. For example, they developed a special artificial intelligence database. Tens of thousands of historical archives, maps, letters, photos, and even the entire diary of Anne Frank were input into it. Use algorithms to analyze character relationships and clues. This method of using big data to solve cases is like equipping historical detectives with the most powerful brain. After massive data analysis and investigation, a name that has hardly been mentioned in the past few decades has surfaced: Arnold Vandenberg. Vandenberg was a Jewish notary and a member of the Amsterdam Jewish Council at the time. To put it bluntly, this committee was a puppet organization established by the Nazis to enforce Nazi policies. The investigation team speculated that Vandenberg was sent to a concentration camp to protect his family, may have provided the Nazis with a list of addresses of hidden Jews. Unfortunately, Anne's family's address is among them. The most crucial evidence for this conclusion comes from a long-forgotten anonymous letter. It turns out that Anne's father, Otto, had received an anonymous letter shortly after the war. The letter clearly identified Vandenberg as the whistleblower. The investigative team found a copy of the letter in old police files. This is simply the key clue to the Jedi comeback. The investigation team even believes that the reason why Anne's father, Otto, did not make this public is because he did not want the tragedy of Jews betraying Jews to fuel anti-Semitism after the war. I don't want Vandenberg's daughters to be blamed for this. This discovery shocked the world and was reported by major media outlets. A book titled The Betrayal of Anne Frank was also published. Make the entire investigation process public. It seems that this mystery that has troubled the world for nearly 80 years can finally come to an end. However, do you think this is the end? Then you underestimate the complexity of history. Soon after the book was published, it immediately attracted questions and criticisms from many historians. In particular, Dutch scholars directly released a 69-page report. Refute the conclusions of the investigation team point by point. They believe that their accusations against Vandenberg are completely unfounded. The whole argument is like a crumbling house of cards. Scholars believe that the source and credibility of the anonymous letter itself are questionable. Who wrote these and why is unknown. Secondly, as a member of the Jewish Council, Vandenberg himself was under close surveillance by the Nazis. Whether he really has the opportunity and ability to obtain the anonymous list is also a big question mark. Finally, amidst the huge controversy, the Dutch publisher of this masterpiece of crime-solving publicly apologized and announced the suspension of reprinting. So we're back to square one. The high-tech investigation led by a former FBI agent. In the end, it only raised a controversial possibility, but failed to give a definite answer. Perhaps we will never be able to be 100% sure who pushed down the first domino in that dark era. The informer may be a specific person or a collective indifference and fear. As the members of the investigation team said, their purpose is not to nail someone to the pillar of shame in history. It is to reveal the terrible choices that humanity will face in extreme circumstances. Anne's story can transcend time and space and still deeply touch us today. Not only because of the diary, but also because it is like a mirror. It reveals the cruelty of war and also the darkness and brilliance of human nature. No matter who the whistleblower is, the tragedy has already happened. All we can do is remember Anne and that history. And always believe that even in the wilderness, We should look up at the stars and believe in the power of kindness and hope. Well, today's Spill the History tea is here. What are your thoughts on this unsolved case of the century? Welcome to leave your amazing reasoning in the comment section. See you next time.